Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber, episode 3.
Yeah!
Are we ready for more free booty? Caffeine, go! Booze, go!
Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber Season 2 starts now. Hey, Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber Week 3. I've got a dope t-shirt. Stop midget on midget crime. That should be anyone who's running for office in 2020 slogan. That's how you get Kevin Goatee's vote. And of course, Gerard Heron to my right. Everyone.
One little person stabs their boyfriend, and all of a sudden it's a crime epidemic. Kevin needs to be a politician.
Did Kevin Hart get in a fight? Gerard Heron here. Kevin Foley, stat guy, back in the house.
What's up?
That was
Fresh cut.
Look at that.
Fresh cut for the stat guy. And who is the monster next to the stat guy?
Is that Chris Farley?
None
You
other
on camera?
than the one, the only Christian Sokoli. ladies and
Yeah.
That's right. What's
Player
up, man?
for the New York Giants, New Orleans Saints, went to college in Buffalo.
right.
Colts, I forgot as well. We got a lot to get through, but first, let's get right to it. Let's get to our Black Betty's VIP Pick of the Week.
And if you didn't get enough yet, we have more free money coming your way. Let's throw it to the backwoods of South Carolina to our 4-1 college football correspondent, the one, the only, Ginger Billy.
Now, first, we got them Tennessee Volunteers going down to the swamp to play them Florida Gators. Now, Florida is favored by 12.5 points, but I'm going to tell you right now, Rocky Top's going to beat them Florida Gators. Now, as a lot of y'all know, I am a Tennessee Volunteers fan, but that is not skewing my decision on this pick at all. You give me Rocky Top and 12.5 points.
Interesting picks by Ginger Billy Heron. What are your thoughts?
I
You're
gotta
more
tell you,
college
man,
than I am.
Look, it's pretty funny. You know, we gave you the disclaimer last week. Ginger Billy hates all things Ohio State. It's very clear that his high school sweetheart ran off with somebody Urban Meyer recruited. You know what's going to happen this year, Kevin?
What?
Is that Ohio State's going to go 11-1, and Ginger Billy's going to hit on that one, and he's going to say, I told you it was a...
Moonshine and spit cups flying in the air. I wonder if Ginger Billy makes a living selling samurai swords out of the back of a van at flea markets.
I gotta tell you, if he does, would you try to rob him? That dude's
Hell no.
That dude's got biceps on I've never seen a dude with a 14-pack before. I've heard of an 8-pack. I've heard of a 12-pack even, but a 14-pack. And I like the Texas A&M pick, and
That's
I
a
like
good
the
one.
Mississippi State pick. But how could you possibly take a look at Christian Sokoli and want a piece of him in backyard wrestling? What's going on with Ginger, man? Christian, what you think about that?
Who's trying to wrestle me?
Ginger Billy.
I will wrestle him.
A man of few words, but quite the message received, Ginger Billy. You hear that? He's coming for you.
Put the camera back on me. Put it back on me.
Oh, we're going to cut back on.
This is why Paul Heyman has a job for 25 years. All right, let's break it down like this. Let's start first with the New York Giants situation, all right? Being that you were in the locker room, you shared a locker room with Eli. You know, when something like this happens, a change like this happens where they go to a backup quarterback so early in the season, how does that affect the rest of the team? And if we had fantasy players that were on the Giants, do you think this is a plus for those fantasy players, or do you think that there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period?
I'm optimistic about what Daniel Jones can do. I'll also say I was surprised they made the move. I expected Eli to have a longer leash.
Hey, so that's a lot of information we just picked up right there. Thank you so much, Christian, for your insight. Let's go to the stat man himself, Kevin Foley. Kevin, how did we do last week?
I gotta say, Kevin, you won the money with your cold cash.
Goddamn right.
I wonder what to do to
outside
recap
of
so
two
bad.
injuries, you probably would have went perfect because you had Devin Singletary get injured. He had 11.7 before he left. And then you had Tyrell Williams, who had 13.1 before he left with injury.
Please say Gerard had Trevor Siemian.
Never.
I know
Gerard-
Trevor Linden, the ex-center for the Canucks.
Gerard, you
Hockey.
had a little bit of you were okay with your cold cash. You had some unfortunate injuries too as well with Michael Gallup. But I gotta say, the one cold cash player that you did have that showed up for me personally, because I plugged him into my lineup, was Mark Andrews. He was on the money with that Lamar Jackson connection. So that was a great cold cash pick. If you were lucky enough or smart enough to pick him, you definitely cashed in. So
Cold Cash Players of the Week, graphics.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful job.
Very well produced. All right. Cold Cash Quarterback Player of the Week. I like Matt Ryan in a dome. I like Matt Ryan if he looks like, even though he looks like he has irritable bowel syndrome.
Every week.
I love him. 300 yards and touchdowns every week. What more do you want? At Indy this week, where the Colts D was unable to curtail the Chargers, but able to corral the immortal Marcus Mariota, who throws like Moana.
Kevin, in the year 2017, which AFC South team gave up the most points to fantasy running backs?
Oh boy, there's a one
I'm
out
gonna
of
say
four.
the Texans.
Ah,
In 2018, Kevin, which team gave up the most points to fantasy running backs?
Lucky guess here, but I'm gonna say the Texans.
And so far, in 2019, which AFC South team has given up the most points to fantasy running backs?
If my life was on the line, I'd probably lose, but I'm gonna say the Texans.
I think they call that a trend,
Trend.
ladies and gentlemen. Austin Eckler, set it and forget it.
sing with me. Galladay Road. Galladay Road. 3 receivers already with 100 and a touchdown against the Eagles defense. Philly D, second most points to wide receivers, most points to perimeter receivers, which is Galladay. Thank you very much. Now it's time for Hot Trash and some graphics, if you would, please, so kind. Stop me here before. Kirk Cousins, $5,100. Are you tired of Kirk Cousins throwing the ball the other team like he owes Tony Soprano money?
Kirk Cousins should not only be benched, he should be indicted on federal fraud charges. At least Bernie Madoff made some people some money. Kirk Cousins is about as bad as any signing I've ever seen.
Yeesh.
Highway robbery.
Yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster, one of my favorite players all year. Kevin hates his name. I love his game. I think, again, I think better days are ahead. But this is a tough week against a good secondary, a good pass rush on the road in San Francisco. Juju Smith-Schuster, new quarterback. For $6,900, he's the 8th wide receiver off the board. Pass.
All right. Sleepers.
Sleepers.
Baby sheep,
Hey, Kevin Foley, you got a newborn, right, man? You getting any sleep at home, or?
Not much. I'm averaging about 3.5 hours of sleep one night for the past.
This is what happens when somebody has a newborn kid.
Don't
From
tell
what
me.
What
I
I've noticed. I'm the only guy on the set that doesn't have kids. But look at Kevin Foley. He got himself a fresh cut. Hair's looking good. He's got himself, the shaved up. Everything's, and now, he's also wearing, a shirt from 3 days ago. So I mean, this is what having a newborn at home does to you guys. You got to keep it fresh.
Yes,
but you don't have the time to keep it.
See, I had to
super fresh.
I had to close the week ago without the cut, and now I got the cut without the close. I promise
so
next week
true.
we'll get it all together.
Yeah. You looked phenomenal from the neck down last week. Now you look phenomenal next week, bro. Next week.
We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work.
Sleeper number 2, Kerryon Johnson for $5,600. How many dummies name their fantasy team names? Carry on, my wayward son. I hate punny names. An inauspicious start for Mr. Johnson, however, again, faces a Philly defense. No Malik Jackson or Tim Jernigan. Philly gives up a ton of passes to the running backs, tops in the league. Philly also leads the league in correctly mispronouncing the words home, phone, and water. You mongoloids.
They also call sprinkles Jimmies. Again, Kevin doesn't like him, but I like him. Give me Mostert this week. Give me Mostert.
I don't dislike him.
4,700. He had twice as many touches as Breida last week. He's going up against a Pittsburgh team that is 8th against the run. I get that, but he gets a lot of his play in the air. He's filling the Tevin Coleman role better than Tevin Coleman did. 4,700. I like Mostert as a. Are we going with Mostert? Are we going with Mostert? I think it's Mostert, right? We're going with Mostert as a Mostert. We're going with him. However you want to say it. Plug him in as a sleeper if you need a third flex option in deep leagues.
Time for free money. Ding, 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 ding. About 4 cuts in that I would use. Much to Gerard's chagrin, I am going to take my first bet on a limb. The New York Jets plus the 22 points.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a lot of points. Biggest reason why I like this, the Pats are missing not one, not two, but 3 offensive linemen, including their center. That's not good.
My first free money pick of the week is Oakland getting 9.5 over Minnesota. I'm not going to go into a deep dive on this. There's a lot of information out there. Would you bet money that Kirk Cousins can cover 10 points in the NFL in 2019? I would not. I'm taking the 10 points against Kirk Cousins, and I'm doing it, and I'm not overthinking it.
I might have something to say about that in the Patreon picks. Pick number 2, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 6.5. Here's a stat for you. Since 2007 to 2012, when the Steelers entered the game below 500 with a losing record, they were 7-0 straight up. Tomlin has won 70% of those games coming in. The rest of the NFL, 40% have won games while in that same seat. That has been Week 3 Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber. I'm Kevin Goatee, at Kevin Goatee on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. This, of course, is Gerard Harron. Do not forget patreon.com/fantasyfootballjibberjabber. And please, for the love of God, share this with your friends.
And I want to thank everybody that's been sharing it already.
Yes.
Your support has been fantastic. I want to thank back Black Betty's once again for giving us their VIP pick of the week. Kevin Foley, phenomenal job this week. Christian Sicoli, thanks for dropping in. Ginger Billy, another great segment about college football. And Kevin, winning some more people some free money.
That's right, kids. And like Gerard said, Black Betty, Sayreville, New Jersey, Route 35 North. Thank you again for sponsoring the show. We'll see you Week 4. Kevin Goatee, Gerard Harron, Kevin the Stat Guy. We'll see you next week. Avita Zen.